Hi everyone and welcome. In this video we will see how to configure the SQL client module in the Neuron for data logging to MySQL database. Okay, so if you want to use the Neuron software to log your data in the MySQL database, then this video is for you. So let's see how you can configure the Neuron SQL client module and how to log data in the MySQL database. So here is my Neuron node. I'm going to add the SQL client module here. So we will click on this menu and we will click on new module. This is our SQL client module. Okay. And here in the module type, we will select SQL client. Okay. So here you can see we have the SQL client and then we will save it. Okay. And once you save it in the module section, you will have your SQL client module instance. So you have to click here, and here in the model, you have to create a new channel, and we want to log our data into the MySQL database. So I'm going to name it as MySQL channel. Okay. And enable data collection. Yes. Now the connector type is MySQL because we are going to log our data into the MySQL database. So that's why the connector type is MySQL. Now in the host, you have to provide your MySQL server IP address, and in the port you have to provide your MySQL server port number. So here is my SQL workbench. If I go to the home, then here you can see MySQL database is running in my local system on port 3306. Okay, and the username is root, so that detail we will provide here. So hostname is my localhost IP address, port number is 3306, and in the authentication we will use the username root, and in the password we will provide the password. Okay, and yeah, that's it. We can click on the save. Okay, and here we have to provide one more thing, default database. So if I open my MySQL workbench, and here you can see we have the three database: Neuron, System, and Test. So I'm going to log my data in the Neuron database. So I will provide the database name here, N3 URON, and again we will click on the save button. Then after, here you can see the transaction. So in the transaction, what you have to do is you have to add a new history transaction. Okay, so here we are going to rename it to history transaction, and then we will expand it. Now we will expand the trigger section because we want to log our data into the MySQL database at certain interval. So we will select the periodic trigger. Okay, and I'm going to rename it, and then after we will expand it, and then we will select the fixed time because we want to log our data into the MySQL database at certain interval. So I'm going to leave this setting as it is, 10,000 millisecond. Okay, here you can see it's a millisecond, so every 10 seconds we will log our data. And then after, you have to expand the query section, and query type you have to select the custom, and then you have to expand the option section, and here you can see the JavaScript is written. So you have to click on this icon, JavaScript icon, and here make sure you have selected the MySQL, okay, to log the data into the MySQL database. And here is the table name in which we are going to log our data. If you want to change the table name, then you can change it. I am going to leave it as it is, and just we will press save. And then after, we have the tag filter section. So we will add tag filter. So we will click on this three dot and we will click on the new tag filter path, and we will expand the tag filter. We will rename it. Okay, so I'm going to rename it to tag filter path, and then we are going to select the tag which we want to log into the MySQL database. So we will click on this path, and here we will click on this group sub S01. Okay, so substation 01. So this tag I want to log into my MySQL database. So I'm going to select this group, and then we will click on select group, and that is selected. Now we can press on save, and we will press yes. Okay, now how much tag and what is the data inside this group? So if I go to the real-time section, and if I click on the sub S01, then here you can see this much of data we have. Okay, and this much of data will be logged into the MySQL database at interval of 10 seconds. Now we have already configured our SQL client module in the Neuron. We will go to the MySQL workbench and we will refresh our Neuron database, and here you can see the history table is created. I'm going to right click on the history table and we will select the first 1000 row. Okay, and here you can see we have our data. Okay, so let me expand this section. You can see here is the tag name. Okay, and here is the value of your tag. Here is the string value if your tag has string value. Okay, here is the boolean value if your tag has a boolean value, and here is the quality of your tag, and here is the timestamp. So this is how the neuron will log the data of your tag into the MySQL database. Okay, so if I refresh it again, then here you can see the maximum count is 29. Also we can check the count at 10 second interval of 10 second. Count and then enter. Okay, so count is 37. If you check after 10 seconds, then count will increase. Okay, 42. Okay, so this is how it will log your tag data into the MySQL database. Okay, and here you can see, and once it will log the data into the MySQL database, then you can get the data from MySQL database. You can perform the analysis, you can create a report, you can create a graph, and you can do a lot more things after you have the data in your database. So I hope this thing is clear, that how you can use the Neuron software to log your data into the MySQL database. So first of all, you have to go to the config section. In the config section, you have to go to the modules. In the modules, you have to click here, okay, on the hamburger menu, and you have to click on the new module. You have to select the module type SQL client, and you have to save it. Then after, you have to go to the SQL client module which you have created, and here you have to create a new channel, and in the channel you have to configure few things. First of all, the connector type. Okay, in which database you want to log your data. So we want to log our data into the MySQL database, so that's why we have selected the MySQL as a connector type. Then after, you have to provide your host name and the port number of your MySQL database, and if your MySQL database is in the cloud, then you have to provide the public IP address of your database and the port number, and you have to provide the database, okay, in which we are going to log the data. So here I have the Neuron database. Okay, so that's why I have provided the Neuron name here. And then after, you have to provide the username and password of your MySQL database to connect with it. Okay, and then after, you have to click on the transaction, and you have to add the history transaction to log the historical data into the MySQL database. And once you create the history transaction here, you have to create a trigger, okay, which is periodic trigger. So if you want to log your data into the MySQL database at certain interval, then you can select the periodic trigger. If you want to log your data at certain condition in the MySQL database, then you can select new tag condition. Okay, but mostly in general cases we want periodic logging, so that's why I have selected periodic. Then after, in the query section, you have to go to the options, and you have to click on your JavaScript query, and here you can change your database. So if you are logging into MS SQL database or MariaDB or any other database, then you have to select the syntax here, and here you have to select the table name, or you can modify the table name as per your requirement. Okay, this is the sample script. You don't have to create this script. Okay, it will come along with this SQL client module, and you can modify it as per your requirement. That's it. And then after, you have to go to the tag filter, and you have to create one tag filter, and inside that tag filter, you have to select the group, or you have to select the tag which you want to log into the MySQL database. That's it. You have to save it, and it will start logging the data into the MySQL database. So I hope this thing is clear, that how you can use the Neuron to log your data into the MySQL database. And if you still have any questions or any doubt, then you can always ping me on Telegram, Instagram, WhatsApp, anywhere. Also, you can send me a mail. Also, you can comment on this video. So let's meet in the future videos, in which we will see how to log your data into the MS SQL database from the Neuron SQL client module, also in the Timescale database. Okay, so let's meet in the future videos. Till then, take care, goodbye, and thank you.